Hi everybody, welcome along to today's Adobe Skills Lab. And we've got a very one of those features that we always get asked about, and that there's always a lot of interest today, which we're looking at the branding functionality within Adobe Express. How you can use how you can use brands to get your colors, your templates, and really keep that identity, whether that's across a university or for your own projects as well. So, welcome along today. And maybe if you want to just post in the chat where you're dialing in from, what university you're with. And I'm in Edinburgh, and there's snow on the ground outside. I can see out of the window, and it is a bit cold. And I'm thinking about putting the heating on. So that's where I am. So yeah, pop that into the chat. It would be great to hear where you're coming from. Today's speaker is my colleague Louise, who is going to be outlining all these features. If you have questions, do pop your questions into the chat, and we will get to them today, and we'll be doing our best to answer them. And if Louise can answer them live, we'll call them out to her as well if you want her to go over something again. So without any further ado, I will introduce Louise. Take it away, Louise.
Thanks, Alistair. And you've got two Scottish people today, so you might have to adjust your ears slightly. So I'm from Edinburgh as well, and I can confirm it is very, very cold. We've got our, as Alistair said, colleagues on the call. But if you do have questions and you want me to stop halfway through, then please just sort of pop that in the chat, and my Alistair and Jasmine and Catherine and our other colleagues on the call will interrupt me and I can repeat. So we only have 45 minutes, so I'm just going to go straight into this one. If you want to follow along, please log into Express. So you can go into, and I'll maybe have one of my colleagues put it in the chat. You can go into express.adobe.com. If you do /A as an anchor, it should single sign on you into your university domain. If not, use your university email to sign in. And as Alistair mentioned, today we're going to really be looking at brands. So how you can set up a brand, and then how you can use that brand as you build your content. I'll also look at how you can create templates as well for end users, and how you can lock certain parts of those templates down. And then how do you then share those templates out, as well as share a brand. And there's a functionality within Express called a project that allows us to do that. So we'll be taking a look at that as well. Now, I want to just kind of show you this because I'm aware that we talk about Creative Cloud libraries, and we also talk about Adobe Express brands, which we're covering today. And then I'm also going to touch on Adobe Express projects. And I often get the question of, well, what's the difference between them? So wanted to just kind of lay this out. The CC library, as we know it, is primarily used to store those assets across all of our professional Adobe apps. So it's things like Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, Premiere Pro. So for those of on the call who are used to using more of our professional tools, Creative Cloud Libraries is maybe something you already use today and you're familiar with. But it allows you to capture graphics, colours, brushes, styles, fonts, lots of different things. And you can share these libraries across different teams. And of course, you can access them from within Express as well. Now, what we're going to cover today is Express brands and Express projects, which are similar to CC libraries, but different in a way. So Express allows us to manage our logos, fonts, colours and assets within Express. Now, you can access CC libraries in Express and pull through certain assets into a brand or project, but we're going to focus on the branding in Express for today. It is Express only, so if you have fonts and colours created in a brand in Express, you can't sort of take that out and put it somewhere else. It lives in Express. But you are able to share it with individuals in your organisation, as well as user groups. So if you've got groups of individuals, you can share a brand with the group. And you're then able to link your brand, so your fonts, your colours, your logos, with a particular project. Now, The project is slightly different in that it allows you to create content for publishing. So it allows you to create different asset types like posters, presentations, flyers, templates, and you can house them in a project. So it's like its own little file for that particular campaign. And then you can link a brand to that particular project as well. So you can have one brand for your organization, and you can have multiple projects or different campaigns that you're working on, and link your brands to those projects so that everyone stays on brand. So that's just a little bit about those two as we dive in. But what we'll do is we'll come to the homepage of Express, and then let's take a look at brands and how to set up a brand. So as I mentioned, please follow along. We'd love for you to create your own brand today. You don't have to share it with anyone. It'll just live in your Express. So don't feel that you have to do it perfectly. It can be anything you want it to be, but maybe just give a go of following along for today. So quick overview of the homepage, just with the interest of time. I won't spend too much on here, but along the top here, you've got your search, so we can search for content that we would like here. You then have your tabs along here, so we can start to drill down the type of output that we want, and it's going to change the underneath of that so that we can then start to drill that down. And then down the left hand side here, we've got additional menu options. So the big blue plus sign, or purple, some people see it's purple, you can then open that, opens your dialog box, and you've got the same categories here for you to start to drill down and create those outputs. So I'm just going to click the X here and just come out of there, and then I'm just going to draw your attention again down on this left hand navigation bar. So you've got your stuff, which is your stuff, your folders, all your documents, your creations. And then underneath that, we've got our brands here. So that's what we're going to explore today. We'll set up a brand, then we'll go and create something, we'll make a template, and then we'll set up a project to put that template into and then connect with our brand. So that's what we're going to focus on today. So from the homepage, you can then just click on where it says brands. Now, if your homepage doesn't look like this, it looks slightly different, that's okay. We've got a customized homepage for Adobe, so it's got that red banner and it says Adobe at the top. Yours might say something else, and that's okay. But everyone should see that navigation of the brands here on the left. And if you haven't got that, and you've clicked on something, you don't know how to get back, nice and simple. The multicolored Adobe A on the top left corner here, just click on there. That will always bring you back to this homepage. So if you ever get lost, click there, take you back to your homepage. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on where it says brands. And that's essentially going to open up all of the brands that we've ever made within Express. Now, sometimes, so I had this problem this morning, I'm just going to click refresh a couple of times. I've got a lot of brands which I need to clean up, but it's sometimes my brands don't come up because I have so many. So I'm going to let's create a brand together. Before we do that, I want to show you what we're going to end up with. So I'm going to come into this Louise's demo brand. And I want to show you this just to show you what the end product's going to look like. And then what we'll do is we'll go and create a brand together, and then we can end up looking like this. So as you can see on our brand, we've got logos, so we can upload and attach logos here. We've got different colors, palettes that we can create. We've got different fonts that we can add. And then we've got this whole graphics section as well. And it's relatively simple to set this up. If you've got your files ready to go, you can just click and then add different sections onto the brand. And just like this, if you want to add to your brand after you've created it, you just open it back up again and add to that brand. So let's go and create this, and I'll show you how to create it from scratch. It's super simple, super easy, but we can do it together. So just if we click on the brands again on the left hand side, that'll take us back to this home page of the brands, and you'll see that you have this square here that says create brand. So if everyone just clicks on there, and we're just going to do a manual setup. Now you can extract a brand from an upload. As you can see, it's in beta at the moment, so I'm not going to look at that because I'm aware that some of you might not have that. So we're just going to do a manual setup today. So if we click manual setup, it then asks you to name your brand. So let's do this as Louise's demo brand number 2. And then it asks you where you want to store that. So we're just going to leave it in the kind of personal storage place. It sits in the cloud. Everyone has storage with their license type, so you don't really have to worry about that. If you want to understand more about any of these, you can click on that little eye. But we're just going to leave it here, and then we're going to click create. So once we've done that, everyone should be on this screen where it asks you to add, and it's as simple as that. You would then start to add in your logo, any colors, any fonts, any graphics that you want to do. So I'm just going to click, you can either click here for add. The other place just to navigate you is you can come up to this, the add here. And if I click on there, it then gives me a drop down. So if I'm not ready to add a logo, but I've got some graphics, I can do that first. It's entirely up to you. And then I've got these other options, which we will look at in a moment around sharing and how you share your brand, which we'll cover in a moment. But for now, I'm just going to go and click add, and I'm going to add a logo. And then essentially it opens up a dialog box for you to then select different assets that you want to upload. Now, in true Blue Peter fashion, I did go and create some logos yesterday. So I created a logo with a white background, I created a logo with a black background, and as always created one with a transparent background. But if you can go and grab any kind of JPEG, PNG file that you have on your desktop, doesn't matter, nobody's going to see it, so don't worry about having to get something that's you know, you have to show anyone. You don't have to show anyone at all. Just an example today. So if you go and grab a logo that you have, and then you can add that in, or some sort of picture. So I'm going to go and grab my white one. I'll go and grab my other logo. I'll go and grab my black logo, and I'm going to go and then grab, and you'll see there's a little dialog box coming up here. I'll cover that in just a moment. I'm going to go and grab my transparent background one. So what I've done there then is I've grabbed 3 different types of logos that I created before. You don't have to have 3. If you want to just grab any type of image that you have on your desktop, that's absolutely fine. And you'll see what's happened is I've done this for each of the logos that I added, but I'll show you on this one. It's then decided, or asked me, excuse me, if I want to create a color palette based on my logo. So I can choose to do this right now, or I can do it differently. So if I do this and say create palette, what it's doing is it's picking up the key pictures or key colors, excuse me, from my logo, and it will create that as a palette. Now I can add to that palette, or I can create a new one. It's entirely up to me. I'm just going to go and create that palette because it's pulled the colors for me, and it's gone there and created that. Now, again, I've got some options. I can hit the plus sign and create another palette if I wanted to. Or if I click into, hover my mouse along here and click into these 3 dots, I can then edit this particular color palette and then add more colors to it. Now, with any color palette, as all of us know, if you're designing, black and white is always a good thing to add. And then it's captured the kind of pink and the kind of coral color there. But actually, I want it to capture some of the other colors that are on the logo. So I wanted to, here you'll see I've got a slider. I can capture these. I can move these around for the different gradients. Got my hex file as well here. So if I wanted to add that in, if I know what that is, I can do that. The other thing that's got here, and I love this, is the eyedropper. So if I click on there, what happens is it will go away and scan and see what colors it's got. So if you have a look, I can kind of come here and be like, actually, I want this kind of pinky color. And I can click on there and you'll see it's a different gradient from that other one. So it's probably one of my favorite features in Express. No matter where you go and you're doing a color, you've always got that little eyedropper. So you can get really good color matches on what you have. So once you've done that, you can name it. I'm just going to leave it as my color palette, and then I'll put for campaign, and then I'll click save. So as I mentioned, we can add multiple color palettes to our brand, or we can just have one and we can edit the one that we've got there. So now that we've got logos and we've got colors, our next step would be to add some fonts. So again, we can either just click on fonts and that'll take us in here to add one, or from the overview page, we can click add and then fonts. Same option takes you to the same place. So when I click to add a font, again, I've got options. There's millions of fonts inside Express. So if you have a font that you particularly use, you can search for it here and you can hopefully find it. If it's not here, you'll see that there's an option here to upload a font. So you are able to do that as well and upload your font into Express. But for the time being, I'm just going to go and grab a couple of fonts, quite like that one, looks quite Dr. Seuss-esque. And I'm just going to edit these fonts. I'm going to add some more. Do that. Oh, sorry, excuse me, it's edited that one. I'm going to click on there and we're going to view them and then we're going to add some more fonts in. Where's my Dr. Seuss one? I'll go with that one. So from here, you can see that you can edit the font and then you can rename that if you wanted to name it as a header or name it as paragraph or name it as whatever you want to name it as. But you can also change the role of that particular font as well. So you can make a header or body depending on how you want to set up your fonts. And again, you can keep adding and have multiple fonts in here if you wanted to do that as well. And then the final section is graphics. So these are for your pictures, images that you want to use and have within your brand. So it might be over and above a logo. You might have a certain stylized, style that you use across your brand. So it might be, Adobe have had this over the years where they've had times where they've had really bold and bright graphics, and then they've had other times where they've had more real people in pictures and they've had other stylized graphics that they've been using. You can add that in here so that everyone stays on brand, and you'll see as well that you are able to upload, as well as your JPEG and SVGs, you can also upload Photoshop files, InDesign files, and many other different type of formats as well. So that's where you can upload your graphics so that if you're having your end users create and you want them to use specific graphics as part of those projects, then you can have them uploaded here. So again, I'm just going to grab 3 that I downloaded before. You can grab any graphics that you want just to build these out, and that's them added in there. So if I click on the overview, again, yours should hopefully look the same. You should have some logos in there. You should have some colors, some fonts, and some graphics listed up in there. So what I'll do before we move on, I'll just pause and just see if there's any questions that we want to answer live that's coming through.
Yeah, don't have any questions in yet, Louise, but if anybody does want to shout out, do please go ahead and do so, or just drop that into the chat and we'll try and cover that.
Awesome. I shall forge ahead. So we have our brand now. So this is our brand set up. And some people might be asking, well, that's great, but how do we access them? How do we share them out? How do we manage with them? Couple of ways that we can do this. So I'm going to come here to this plus sign. So what I've done is I'm in the brand now, I'm in the folder, and from in the folder I can click on this this share plus option here. Now I'm going to go back just to show you another way that you can do this. So if I go onto like my home page of the brands, you'll see if I hover my mouse over this particular brand, I get these 3 dots that appear. So from here I can also click share. So I can share it from within the brand or I can share it from this homepage. Takes me to the same type of dialogue. So I'm going to do it from here. And a couple of ways that we can do this. So I can share it just with an individual. So if I type in Alistair's name, you'll see what, oops, it's coming up. Why is Alistair coming up red? He'll come up here on the flag. Come back to that one. There we go. If I type in Alice's name, because him and I are part of the same organisation, he will automatically appear. So I can then choose to let him view and use that brand, or I can choose to just let him edit the brand. So again, if he's part of my team and he's doing some of the branding, I can let him edit it and he can add different things in, remove the logos, update the fonts. If I just want him to view and use it without having any editorial rights there, I can click view and use, and then I can put a little message and then invite him to join. The other thing we can do, and I'm just going to type in user, and you'll see that this allows me to pull out user groups that are part of our organization as well. So that's another way that you can do it. If you have a user group set up in your backend, you can share it with a user group so that it's only going to individuals who are part of that group. So you can either invite an individual person or you can invite groups of people to that particular brand. And then, as I said, from this here, you can then dictate, do you want them to just view and use it, or do you want them to actually edit it as well? So that's how you can do it, and that's how you bring individuals into your brand. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how we can set up a template, and then from when we're creating that particular asset, I'll show you where you can then access a brand. And I can see we had a comment or question come in about how do I create a logo. Let's go and do that now then, and I'll show you how you can use a brand whilst creating a logo, and then I'll also show you how to make that logo into a template. So whether it's creating a logo or a poster or a flyer or a presentation, the steps are exactly the same. How you lock down assets is exactly the same, and how you share and make it a template is exactly the same. But to answer the question that we've had to come through, let's create a logo. Let's go and do that. So if everyone doesn't have any questions about brands, we'll move on, and we'll take a look at how to create something. In this example, it's going to be a logo. And then we'll look at how we can then lock aspects down and make that a template and share that out. So if everyone goes back to the home page here and just clicks on the Adobe A on the top left corner. And what we're going to do is we're just going to hit that blue plus sign. And most logos are kind of square shape. So we'll just start with that. We'll just start with the square. So if everyone clicks on the square, and then everyone should see this blank canvas. So it should just be square. If you've clicked on the portrait or landscape, it's absolutely fine. You can just leave it like that. Everyone should have the square. Just give me a thumbs up if you're there, and then we can move on. Yep, Chantel, thanks. Awesome, Deborah, brilliant. Jacqueline, awesome. Daisy, thanks. Right, great. So we'll kind of move on. So everyone should have this blank template. If Faber asked, how do we create a logo? Let's go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to exit out of here for now, because what happened is it's come up here and offered me Instagram square templates because it thinks I'm going to do an Instagram post because this is the size that I chose. And it's automatically opened me in templates here. Now, I do want templates, but I don't want Instagram templates. I want logo templates. Now, a couple of options. We can just, where we can see this X and we can see this Instagram square, you should see there's a arrow pointing back to the left. So if we go back one, it's then going to take us into all templates, because it bounced us into Instagram templates because it thought those were the type of templates that we wanted. But we want all types of templates. So if you come out, and you should just see templates, and then I'm just going to, on this search box here, I'm just going to type a logo. Now, I did a running themed logo. Members of my team probably sick of me talking about running, so they're probably like rolling their eyes, running again reference. But you can type any type of logo that you want to search for. So you would search logo and then the type of logo that you want. And then essentially underneath, you'll see there's lots of different options for us. So I can go ahead and think, oh, I love this one. I love this kind of shape. I love the color. I love what it looks like. Then we can click on that. And then essentially what happens is that then it takes that template and places that onto my canvas for me. And then from there, I can go and edit it and do what I want to do. But just to get an idea, get a structure of where I'm starting, I can go ahead and use those templates here. Now, as you're doing that and you're choosing the template, I'm just going to talk a little bit about templates and just explain. So There's essentially in Express two types of templates. There's templates that are Express templates. So these are templates that Adobe have curated and we offer to you, of which there are millions. So that's when we talk about templates that we're looking at now. These are curated templates from Adobe to you. Anyone can use them, students, staff, anyone with a license. Some of these are premium templates, and you'll see that from the little crown that some of them have on the bottom right corner. Some of them are not premium templates, meaning that if you have a free account of Express, you can use it. So these are templates that Adobe have given to you. Anyone can use them, anyone can have them. The other type of template that we talk about often is the template that you've created. So this could be a template that you are giving to students because it's a poster template that you want everyone to create something similar. It could be a presentation template that you're giving out to staff with your logo and your fonts and your colours on it. Those types of templates that you create, you get to choose who has access to them. So there's templates that anyone can have, and Adobe make them, Adobe curate them, and they serve them up to you. If you want a template that's unique for your organisation, unique for your project or your campaign or your lecture or your notes and course, you can create your own templates and then you can share them with your organisation. So that's essentially what we're looking at today. I've taken an Adobe curated template and I'm going to use it. I'm going to make it my own. Then I'm going to make it a template to share in my organisation. Hopefully that makes sense, because I know that sometimes it can be a bit confusing because we use the word template, but there's two different outputs of that particular feature. So going back to our Adobe curated template that we have, from here, what I can then start to do is, as Favour asked, is I can then start to edit this and make it a logo for my particular brand. And then I'm able to share that out with others as well. So it's got this running. I don't like this running icon because I want my icon on it. So I'm just going to click on it and I'm just going to hit delete. Just going to get rid of it. Running sport club. I don't like the word sport. I'm just going to leave that. Yeah, I'm just going to running club because that's what we are. We're just going to running club. And then as much as I would love to live in Los Angeles, I do not. So we're going to change that to Edinburgh, Scotland. And we're going to just move that down. We'll change it to Louise. Oh, I can spell my own name. runningclub.co.uk. So that's all of our details about our running club. And then what we want to do, because I like everything else, like the colour, like the composition of it, like the way it's set up, but I need to add in my branding, my colours, my logos, my fonts. So from here, if everyone can just draw their attention down to the left navigation again, you'll see that I've got brands listed here. So this is how I can access my branding when I'm creating something. So I can click on brands. And then what happens is it opens up all of the brands that I have available to me, whether I've created them or I've had them shared with someone else. And so I've actually landed in this brand H. And again, I'm going to just use this little left arrow to go back again. And I'm going to go and find the brand that I just created. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I have this bug in my Express at the moment where it doesn't find my brands. There we go. And I don't know why. I'm clicking on all and it should show all the brands that are available to me, but for whatever reason, it doesn't show mine. So that's fine. And that's a little bug with mine. You probably won't have the same. So you can then see this Louise Demo Brand 2 that I have that I created 11 minutes ago. Gosh, has it been 11 minutes already? And I'm going to just click on that. And then it opens up the logo, the colours, the fonts, and the graphics that I have for that particular brand. Now, I want to just kind of show you all of the different features here really, really quickly. and I'll let you kind of explore them after as well. But you can see here that I've got this big blue bar here. I can apply the brand. So essentially, if I click on this, I can just apply this brand to this particular logo. So it'll change the font, it'll change the color palette, it'll change everything for me automatically. So I don't have to come and reselect all the individual sections. Now, this is particularly handy that when we've got like a presentation, maybe we've got like a 20-page presentation or a document or multiple assets in one page. If you have a look at this cogs icon at the side, and if you click on there, you'll see that I'm able to, and it might be grayed out for you as well because we only have one page. So what I'm going to do is, just so you can see it on my screen a bit better, I'm just going to quickly duplicate my page here. Okay, and I'm going to go back to that. So now you can see I have an option here that says apply to all pages. So what happens is I can then select, do I want to apply the colors or not, the fonts or not, or recolor the graphics or not. So I can apply that to all pages, and then that'll apply the brand across my full project or my full pages that I've opened up and I'm working on. Or I can just apply it to one, entirely up to myself. So I'm just gonna put that toggle on. And again, I can come here and I can just click on these individual assets and pull them in. Or as I mentioned, I could just do it really quickly and easily and just say apply the brand. And what it's going to do is it's going to grab the colors and it's going to apply the brand to that particular graphic. Now, you'll see what I'm doing is I keep clicking apply brand because it's applying my colors and my brand in different ways so I can choose how I want it to be applied. So if I keep clicking, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not sure I like that version. That's a little bit better, but still a bit garish. I'm going to just keep clicking until I find how I like it to be set up. And again, I've still got options. I can come and change this if I want to. I can be like, oh yeah, I like that, but let's move the running aspect out. So I'm just going to shrink that down and move that here. Quite like this, but I want it to be a bit smaller. So I'm going to move that. I'm going to pull that out a little bit. So I've still got options that I can edit, but it just quickly applies the brand and applies all of my fonts and colors across that as well. So that's how we can use the brand from within a particular asset. And I'm just going to go and grab one of my logos and drop my logo in. So I'm just going to click on here. I'm going to grab that. Just going to remove the background because I don't want the white background. It's probably not the best in terms of the colours, but we'll go with that. Just make that white as well so we can maybe see it. Okay. So essentially what I've done there is we've created a graphic, we've applied the brand to the graphic, and now we have this document. Now, what I said I was going to do is show you how to make this a template and then share the template. So let's go ahead and make this a template and pretend that we want to give this to people to use to maybe change the location, change the website, and maybe change the name. But we need the logo to stay and we want the composition of the poster or the logo to be remaining. So a couple of things we can do here. If we click on a certain element on the particular graphic, we can lock an element down. So if we click on there, anywhere at all, oops, a daisy, and you can see you get, if I click on the grey again, just to show you, you've got this dialog box that opens up at the top. If I click on the three dots, I then have this lock aspect that I can select. So if I click on lock, you'll see what happens is this creates this grey box around that particular asset, which means that I've locked that down. I'm going to go ahead and do that to my logo as well. So I'm going to click on it, opens up my dialog box at the top here, three dots, and I'm going to click lock. Now you'll notice that I have another option here which says lock but allow image replace. So that's one thing you can do, which means people will be able to switch the logo out, but it's always going to remain on the same place on the page. But actually I'm just going to lock it down because it's my logo and I don't want anybody to move it. And it's the same if I click on the text, I've got the option to lock it down, or I can lock it but allow the text to be replaced. So again, some parameters and some options there when you lock things down. So go ahead and lock something down, even if it's just one thing, that's good enough. And then what we'll do is we'll have a look at, so that's how you make a logo. To get it out of Express, you can just download it if you want to pull it out and use it somewhere else. But what we're going to do is we're going to make this a template, and then I'll show you how to create a project and then bring your brand into the project and put your template in the project as well. So whilst everybody's done that, we'll just click on at the very, very top, we need to make this a template. So remember, two types of templates. Templates that Adobe curate and give to you. If everyone looks at my screen for now, that's what these templates are, the ones on the left nav bar. These are curated templates from Adobe. What we're doing is we're creating our own template to then share with our organization. So to do that, you can then click on the share, which is the top right. And then you've got all of these options that open up for you. So this is where you can share with individuals or share with a group of people. You can present it. You can put it up to socials, so Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can make it a view-only link. So we'll talk about that in a different session. But what I want to show everybody here is you've got this option where it says convert to a template. So this is how you create templates from your creations. So if I click on that convert to template, I've got my dialog box that opens up on the left-hand side. And then I've got all of these options and ways in which I can edit and change this particular template. So I've got my info box. So again, I would name my template. Don't want it to be untitled. I want it to be something else. So Louise's running club logo template. Oh my gosh, I can't type or spell today. There we go. You can select the location of where it goes. So I'm going to put this in you can put it in the projects folder. Now you can choose a project that already exists, or from here you can actually create a project. But I'm going to just put this in one that already exists. Again, I created it yesterday. But again, if you want to create your own, you can create your own as well. And then you can put a little note about this template. So please use this template when creating logos for your campaigns. Now, before we click to convert it to a template, I want to show you all these other options as well. So if I click on the locks, you'll see then it gives me some options here about those locked layers that I created. So it's telling me, do I want users to unlock the layers if they need to? So when they come in, they can unlock them and then do whatever they want. Do I want them to be able to unlock it, but I have to give them a passphrase? So maybe you want to do this if you have individuals on your team that you want to give a little bit of flexibility to, but everybody else you don't want to. You know, and you could have within your team that your password is whatever, and then you can have that. Or you can say, actually, no, I don't want anybody to unlock any of the layers. They have to be what there are. And I know individuals I've seen use these types of templates and projects for, as example, in the student union for like their cafe menus. So again, for that, the menu is set out in a specific way. You don't want people coming in and moving things around because they want to come in and they want to change prices every now and then, but the menu and the layout of it, they need to be absolutely the same. So I know for those individuals, they'll always click, no, they can't update any of the layers, but they leave the pricing available for people to come in and update the pricing. So maybe something like that, you would say, nope, don't unlock it. Again, for the style options, you've got some restrictions around the style as well. So do you want to restrict some of the color choices that people make and only restrict it to a brand, meaning that they can't go off and choose crazy colors? And again, you can restrict the fonts to only a brand as well. Same with the editor, you can remove access to the templates or you can remove the ability for them to add anything new onto that. And then the final one is review and approve. So again, if you've got somebody who's creating from a template and you want it to go through an approval process, you can set that up here as well. So just going to leave it as it is. I'm going to click convert to template. And then essentially what happens is it's converting that document to a template and placing it into my project for further use. If I wanted to make that a logo and put it in my brand, I can download it and then put it back into my brand. I'm just going to exit out of there. I'm going to go back to the home page and I'm going to check on questions. We've got 5 minutes left. So I'm going to show you where you can get that template in your project before we end. But I just want to check to make sure we're not got any questions that we need to have answered.
I don't have any other questions right now, but again,
Awesome.
if people want to drop their questions in, we can try and get to those.
Awesome. So in our last kind of 5 minutes, what I want to show you then is projects. So if you remember what we looked at before, we had a look at branding being where we'd gather our logos, our fonts, our colors, and our assets. And then I've showed you like when you're in creating how you can pull those brands through. What I want to now show you is just this final one. How can we gather content into projects, and then you can invite individuals into those projects as well, and you can assign branding to that particular project, which will then, as we've seen when we created our template, will dictate how and when people use templates within that project as well. So let's go ahead and look at that. If you're not a home page, if you go back to the home page. So to get into your projects, you click on this Your Stuff. So down the left-hand side, we were looking at brands. We're now going up to Your Stuff. So if you click on there, you then have these options here, which is Files, Projects, Libraries, and Favorites. Now your libraries is the CC libraries, the Creative Cloud libraries that we talked about at the start. But what we're going to look at today is the projects. Now, I've got a few different projects on the go here. Again, one we created earlier, I'm going to go into my demo project for the campaign Get Running. Now, you'll see there then that there's our custom template that we created for this particular project, and it's straight away in there. I created it, I saved it, and it automatically goes in there. So if I have Alistair in this brand and Jasmine and Catherine, next time they come in, they'll be able to see that. Even if they're in the brand, if they click refresh, it will automatically appear for them. It's pretty instant. Now, I set this up. I've got these different folders that I've got in here with their own templates inside these folders. And then on the left-hand side here, you can see that I've added my Louise demo brand. I've got the option to add a calendar, and I can add different Creative Cloud libraries if I want to. I can input some descriptions, and then I can also add different members to this particular project as well. So this would be used if you've got, and I've seen this used actually, for like different types of courses or lessons that you're doing. So it might be that you have a particular lesson or a course that you're delivering out, and as part of that you want everyone to create posters or collaborate as teams on posters. You might have those individual student groups creating projects that they're going to work on together. It might be that you want to have a project for a particular course, and you want to have templates in there that students can come and use, and then asking them to re-upload their content to that project. There's a huge amount of use cases for projects, and how you want to use them is entirely up to you. But again, we see them being used in industry for different campaigns. And then it's just a really easy way to store all of those campaign assets in one folder that everybody's using. And then everyone who creates can then add and store all of their content within that project as well. So to create a project, it's really, really simple. I'm going to just go back to Your Stuff. I'm going to go to the projects, and I'm going to show you how you can create a new one. And honestly, it's the simplest way to do it. You can click on New Project, name your project. So Louise project. I'm going to say with Alistair. Let's do it with Alistair. And then you click Create. I can then invite people to that project. So I'm going to invite Alistair in. And I'm going to say you can edit it. I'm going to invite him in. And then together we're in this project now. So what we can do from here is we can write a description, we can add a calendar, we can add some brands, and then we can bring in different documents as well, different templates into that brand. So from here we can link our brand. If I click on the link button, there's my Demo Louise 2 brand. I'm going to link that in. So that just means that everyone who has access into here can have access to all of that content, and they can update that. And then I can come here and add to my project. So I can go and find files that I've created, documents that I've done, and and add them in here. These are custom templates that I've built before. I'll go and grab some of these things, and then I can add them all into the project. So I can start to really quickly build out what these activities are going to be and how they're going to look and how they're going to be shaped. And then I can add different members into here as well. We're at time. As you can tell, we could probably spend another hour showing you brands and templates and projects. But I would encourage you to come in here, be curious, create. The really good thing about Express is if you do want to delete anything, it's super, super simple. Like that project I just done with Alistair, I can just click on the 3 dots and I can click on delete, or I can leave it, or I can continue to share and build that out. I would just encourage you to play around initially, have a go, see how it works. And then if you start to build it out and you do other things with it, please, we'd love to see what you're doing. So feel free to share and reach out to us and showcase what you're doing. As I said, we would love to hear and see it. I know some colleagues have put the link for the newsletter in the chat, which was awesome. On the newsletter, there's always an option there to contact us to give some success stories. So if you have started to use branding in projects in the next couple of months, and you'd like to share that with us, please check out the newsletter and the links on there to share that with us as well, or just reach out directly. Awesome.
Thank you, Louise.
Yeah, no problem. Stop talking and let everyone get off with their day.
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining today. Check out the links that are down the side there in the chat. Especially next week, we've got our Adobe Express Student Academy, an event for students over Tuesday and Wednesday next week. If your student, come along, or invite your students to come along to get more great content like this from Adobe and digital skills. Thank you, Louise, and thanks everybody for coming along today.
Thanks all. Bye.